Hi, I'm Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group, and you are listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy from compassmedia.ie.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by compassmedia.ie.
Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by compassmedia.ie. Episode number 38. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social media marketing. If you would like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. You can also join our Facebook group by logging on to facebook.com/groups/social media talks. And we're looking forward to today's show. Today I'm going to be joined by Jessika Phillips, who is the president of Now Marketing Group. And Jessika was selected as one of the top 12 global rising stars of social media to watch in 2016. And Jessika's mission is to make relationships the forefront of business marketing. She is known for her outspoken dedication to relationship marketing, and Jessika lives by her statement that relationships will always be more powerful than marketing. And she believes that being a magnet versus a bullhorn to truly connect with her tribe. As a social media strategist, Jessika had founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision. The company is now a Forbes recognized agency partner and a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the US and beyond, choosing to serve and not sell. As a relationship marketing evangelist, Jessika also founded Magnet Marketers and the Relationship Marketing System, membership sites that provide curriculum to help businesses grow. Jessika also teaches comprehensive relationship marketing and presents a weekly videocast called Magnet Marketers, and is the host of one of the largest social media Midwest conferences in the States, called Social Media Week Lima. So without further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview with Jessika. Hi Jessika, how are you today? Thanks for joining us today on the Social Media Talks podcast. How are you?
Hey Alan, I'm doing good and excited to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Brilliant stuff. And for anyone, I suppose we'll get a little bit of a background on you before we get stuck into our chosen topic today, which is of course relationship marketing.
Sure, yeah. I like to call myself a relationship marketing evangelist, which I get a couple of questions about that. What is it and where did it come from? But actually, I got started in relationship marketing before I really knew what it was. I worked in telecommunications for about 7 years. I worked in sales there and kind of worked my way up into management, and then as a distribution partner, and helped mom and pop shops market and sell our product within their stores. And they were competing against big box stores, trying to compete to sell products and draw customers in. They didn't have a huge marketing budget, so they were really relying on their customer service and the relationships that they were building in their store. So I was really fascinated by how they would get these repeat referral customers coming in again and again, and fell in love at the same time with social media as it started coming out, where small businesses finally had the opportunity where they could market on a level playing field. It didn't matter how much budget you had per se. It was all about how you had conversations and how you could relate to your customers and bring your in-person experience online. So it was helping them get set up on social media pages, and we were really just going strong. During that time, I ended up getting sick and with health issues, and ended up getting fired by my employer at that time, and really was at this crossroads of oh man, like what can I do to better myself, or I'm not in a position working for someone else again that could, end up in the same boat. And what do I love to do? It was kind of, I really loved my job at the time, but it was a perfect kind of pause point in my life where I could really take a peek and say, what do I want to do? And now's the time to kind of do it. So I decided to take a leap of faith and start a marketing agency in a little town called Lima, Ohio, where I just started with myself and was paying to work at the time, and decided to kind of drink my own Kool-Aid, if you will, where I was adding value first and didn't have a salesperson, but decided to offer free training seminars on how businesses could use the art of social media to build relationships faster with their ideal customers to grow that repeat referral business. From there, I was putting on these seminars in person before the beautiful days of live video. I had to do it in person at the time, and would convert a couple leads from there. Very quickly grew the agency to now where Forbes recognized agency. Fast forward to today, we have 12 full-time team members, some part-time team members, and work with clients all over and teaching them the same thing. We've always said my philosophy is helping people grow repeat referral business through using relationship marketing.
Amazing. And it's I suppose it's the same old story. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think that's brilliant. And like taking that leap of faith, of course, it takes guts, and it does take guts to say, right, okay, but And at the beginning, like we've talked to many businesses, and that they would say, oh right, I'm going to start out, and I just can't get over the line or whatever. And I'd say, well look, everyone goes through that. There's no one that hasn't been at the beginning of a journey like that, And it's amazing, like to have like a staff of say 12 people now, and to see the business grow that way is fantastic. And I think when it comes to building relationships, and especially when it comes with regards to customers and business as well, that the referrals are a huge part of what makes the wheel turn.
Huge part of it. So, and you're spot on with, being scared to start a company, a new business. I had 3 daughters at the time. I was going to school, and I was the breadwinner on the family. So it was super scary to start. But, once you got going, then you, like you said, it didn't feel like work. It still doesn't feel like work. So it's great. And one of the processes that we work with when we bring on a client is called our discovery process. And we always ask them a series of questions to really get to understand the heartbeat of their company and what makes them unique, what makes them stand out, why people will fall in love with them as a brand. And one of those questions, though, is how are you getting your best leads right now? And 99% of the time, all of them are telling us it's from word of mouth referrals. That's where their leads are coming in. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing to maximize on that? How are you getting more referrals? And how are you retaining your clients? So when those two questions come up, it's usually like, oh man, like I forgot to think about that, because traditionally when they're working with marketing companies, they're talking about, okay, we're going to broadcast this message out so loud and always focus on getting new business, that they forget about their main customers and referral source they already have in their database. It's the customers that already have bought into them, that already fell in love with them, that are willing to refer them if they just get a little bit more attention. So it's a completely different way of thinking about it. We like to tell clients, think of it like being a magnet versus being a bullhorn or a megaphone. You're trying to draw the right people into you and get them to stick to you, versus just blasting your message out and getting people to like, okay, stop yelling in my ears. And it really does work. Referrals are the number one source of generation of revenue and generation of lifelong customers. Yeah.
And I think as well, like when you're saying that, like I agree totally with what you're saying, but with regards to say, we think a lot of businesses think, one customer, one sale type of thing. And that's well and good. And okay, if you're selling, multi-million-dollar, products, that's fantastic. You're going to have one sale, whatever. But if you are, a medium-sized business, or even a corporate business, you want to keep retaining your customers, that they're not going to go elsewhere. And, I think that's where a lot of people, and I know when I spoke about this, I was talking to a friend of ours and I was saying, I was talking to you today on the podcast, and I was saying we're going to be talking about relationship marketing. And he says, well, I know about both, but I don't know about the two of them put together. And I said, well, and then when I started to explain it, he went, oh, I see exactly what you're saying. So with regards to relationship marketing, I was going to say to you, the first question was is like, what is relationship marketing? But
Yeah.
I think we've touched on it, so you might go into a little bit more in detail then.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. There is such a confusion when it comes to relationship marketing. Some people think it's inbound marketing, or content marketing. And then there's relationship marketing. They all are intertwined together. So let me kind of break down the kind of definitions of each and what makes them unique. So content marketing is the art of creating content that keeps customers coming back, or readers, subscribers consuming content. That's one part of it. Inbound marketing is the art of growing leads through an inbound source like your website in exchange for something of value in return, which is great as well. Social media, of course, is to build deeper relationships there. All of those things, these are like processes, but relationship marketing is the art of using all the tools that you have available, like content marketing or inbound marketing, or even, social media, to retain your clients and to keep them to stick with you, but to focus solely more so on retaining your clients longer. Because, as you mentioned, some people think it's a one-off sale, but it could be in your sales that you're doing. But what we forget is that now people are talking online. They are sharing their experiences. And before, we had just worried about them telling maybe their close family members or friends in the demographic that they're in. But now they're sharing their experiences online. And we are being bombarded with referring and rating companies and letting people know what our experience was like. And we are sharing that online now to one to many. The average Facebook, person has over 250 friends and family members that are connected with them online, and they're sharing those experiences. And Facebook has it built in where it's like, hey, recommend a certain company. And if you're asking for something, we're getting those recommendations. So you want companies or clients to think of your company when that recommendation box comes up and somebody says, do you know someone that can do blank? Your customers could be your biggest advocates for your brand if you keep them close. And we use this analogy called care, where if you just care for your customers, meaning capture their attention by offering something that is going to stand out and that you are, focusing on them, and you have your ideal brand, out there with them in mind, you're capturing their attention because your content, your brand, your everything is speaking to them. And then you're articulating your message, which means you are explaining in simple terms how you help solve their problem and how you help them reach a pain point. And then R is relationships, where you're focused on continuing building that relationship and really getting to understand them and their needs. And then E, providing exceptional customer experiences. If you focus on the new level of customer care, which includes the whole buyer's journey and beyond, so after they convert, you're still focused on them, then they're going to remember to keep you top of mind, stay loyal, and refer you on.
And I think, it is. And, loyal, you touched on the word loyalty, and loyalty there is, it's a huge part of any business. Like you can have, as I said before, you can have that one-off customer, but that loyalty, and how you even give that loyalty is by making sure you're looking after your customers, by keeping in contact with them, whether it be, a special offer that you're doing. Oh, here's a special offer, especially for you. That is in itself the part that will keep them coming back to you as much as that. And of course, they will also talk about you as well. Hey, look, there's Alan who gave us a load of social media training for free. And, and then when I rang him later on, he was able to help me with such and such. Bang. That is, in its essence, what we're talking about here today.
Absolutely. I just received an email from a company the other day, and they were like, hey, you've been with us for a year. Here's a free month because of your loyalty. And I was like, what? A free month? Usually you get that, if you're a new customer, right? They treat the new customers like gold. And then after you've been there, then they're like, hey, your year's up. Now it's time to renew. And by the way, you get a higher price because you've been with us for a year. Usually the offers aren't given to the customers that have been there longer. So it was just a pleasant surprise. And I think more companies are starting to think this way and realizing that loyalty is the battlefield now, because that we have more options than ever before at our fingertips. The Amazons of the world, and we have access to information to find anything we want at our fingertips, where before we were more limited by proximity and what we knew about. Now a simple Google search can bring up any and every competitor anywhere in the US. So what is going to make someone stick with you is they have to understand what you do and why they should stay with you and feel like you have their best interest at heart at the end of the day. And then you can keep them. They studies have been shown by it's called Customers 2020, and Walker did this study, Coca-Cola, Intuit. So it was like a B2B, B2C kind of study and retail space. And they said the number one deciding factor why somebody's going to choose one company over another in the year 2020 and beyond is the experience that they receive. It's not price. And many companies think that they have to be the cheapest in town or, do something extravagant to really get a customer and win them. But it's all about the experience. People will pay more for a better experience,
of course,
than they will for anything else.
Yeah, and that's very true, because if you think about it, if you're offering a service or you're offering a product that is the best out there, the price and the cost of it is immaterial, because people will want it. They want that. And like if we look at brands over the years that have, I suppose, really championed relationship marketing, would be like even like you look at airlines. The perfect example, the customer loyalties, getting the free upgrades and stuff like that if you're traveling with them. So there's that part, like they've been doing this. So I think it's a part of as well as what businesses need to be starting to really look at now and really focus in on is okay, we all want to attract new customers. We all know that. But the ones that are still with us are the bread and butter of what we do.
Absolutely.
So I would, I think that's a big part of what we should be really focusing on as well at the moment.
Yeah, and we've never been in a better time to do this and to be able to champion this, because all the tools are here. We have customer relationship management tools that will help us, gather information on our clients if you're a large company or even a small company, and progressively profile them, really get to understand them. And all the social media tools that are out there now give you a channel to have a two-way dialogue with your clients and with your customers. So you don't feel like you have to market to them. You just have to build relationships with them. So all the tools are here, and it's a good day to be a business.
Oh yeah, it is. And like that, just when you were saying, building relationships, and we had Ted Rubins on, and he champions like return on relationship.
Yes.
He drills it into everyone he speaks to, and he's dead right, because he is an evangelist of return on relationship. But that's how he has built such a big brand in what he does, because he talks to everyone. Like, I remember when we met him at the social media summit over here in Dublin, and I had followed him for a good few years, and I'd spoke to him sort of online. But when I actually met him, he sat and he had a conversation and he talked. And I think that's where it also has to come from. There is, the element there. We have social media, we have all of these fantastic tools out there. But I think at the end of the day, social media is the way of just reminding people that you're there and staying visible. But I think it also has to be, talking to your customers, just communicating, I suppose, at the end of the day with them.
Yeah, there's no faking it, which I love. So you mentioned a good point. It's one thing to see Ted, you mentioned him online, okay? It's one thing to see a brand or a person online that you admire. But when you have a chance to have a conversation with them, on social media or in person, there's no faking it. That's what's great about this for brands. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're one person solopreneur or a large company. It's all going to come down to how you make people feel when you're online. So the more that you can craft your art of communication as far as conversation is concerned, and like I said, try to add value and become like a magnet to draw people in versus blasting your message out.
Yeah. The
more that people are going to come back and say, wow, that felt good. I had some value in this, conversation here online. They really went above and beyond to show me how to do this thing, or give us this tip that helped me benefit my day, or showed me behind the scenes, or were very transparent on, an outage maybe that they had, and it really helped me. I trust this brand. So we've all heard about the know, like, and trust. The next step up from that is the referral. So thinking through how you're doing social media, like you were mentioning conversation, we always tell our team members, because we help clients write social posts and help them manage their brand online. And we say, read your post out loud, okay, before you write it out, because they're planning writing out their content that they're going to share for the month. And we say, okay, this is all great, your social media content's written out, but read it out loud. Would it sound natural if you were saying this to the person across from you? Because it should flow in that way. And And everything that you're doing online, we say it should not feel like marketing. It should just feel like a conversation.
Yeah,
when brands can craft that, they win.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Like, I actually had a conversation with someone. We were talking about texting, and the problem that you can have with texting. Like, I was talking to this girl, and she had her daughter was in Australia, and she was coming home from Australia, and she said, look, there was a problem with the flight, but she put it in such a way in a text that the girl who was reading it, she sort of went, well, that's a bit rude, the way she did. But, so like that is, as you say, read it out. And if it sounds right, reading it out, then you know that you're on the right track for it. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Like that, I was talking to a client only there this morning, and we were we were talking about, they want to have a presence online. They said, like, what should we do, Alan, first? And I'm saying, well, first of all, you got to know who your customers are. But you've also you've got to add value to their lives. You've got to purposely add value. And I said, and I don't mean just adding value across the board to 1,000 people. You need to add value to that one person, because that one person is the person that's going to refer you to the next person as much as anything else.
Yeah, I'm like virtually high-fiving you right now. It's so good. That's so true. And I love that, where it's like, pretend like you're writing to your ideal customer in front of you. An ideal customer, like you said, knowing them, knowing not just them, that they're a customer, but like, what are the nuances in their day? What are they reading? What are they listening to? How can you be relatable to them? Understanding truly who your ideal audience is, and pretend that you're just writing to that person. That's how you start the conversation, because you're going to be able to add the dialogue in, and the references and the imagery and the tone that they are going to appreciate, that's going to resonate with them. So you don't have to please everyone. You don't want to please everyone. We always tell clients, the first phase in our 6-step relationship marketing system process is the planning stage, which includes identifying your buyer personas, the people that you do want to work with, that you do want to build a relationship with. And then also on the flip side of that, your negative personas, the people that you realize that you are not the best fit for, that there's probably somebody else that can serve them better, and that you don't want to take on because you know that's just going to result in some churn and a bad relationship, and both of you guys trying to, go above and beyond and work on something that'll never be worked out because you just aren't the best fit for them, right? Like, we've all had that, and that's the hardest thing in business, especially when you're first getting started, learning the art of, no, I'm probably not the best fit, but so-and-so is. But that's another part where relationships come in, because you should be able to build relationships with others within your community, as far as like your niche, and be able to refer them off. And the beautiful thing with that, we share stuff and share leads with our quote unquote competitors all the time. But I don't look at it that way, because it seems crazy when you're sharing their content and sharing leads with them. But I promise you, it comes back tenfold, because people are just like, what? She sent me a lead? She's not working. She does that. Why is she sending that to me?
Yeah, and that is like, like we've spoke there before, where like, I've collaborated with a lot of other, same people that would be in my industry, that are literally close to me. And the reason why, it's not, like saying, oh, well, keep them closer to me and whatever. It's more so like, look, there's so much to go around, and in every niche, there's so much information that's going around. There's so much work that's going around that, you can afford to share it out. But like that, as you say, it does come back tenfold, because they're more likely to turn around and say, oh, well, ring Jessica or ring Alan, because, they actually do that better than what we do. It works. Yep. And if you add value and you give out more than you actually try to receive in, it does come back to you. And I'm a firm believer in that 100%. That's one of my key things as well. And like that, even when we were talking about social there, I have this huge thing that where I talk about is that when we are online, we have a different persona of ourselves as we do in real life. So if I, like the girl, like for instance, that girl I was talking to this morning, she turned down and she says, oh, how should I speak online? And I said, well, how are you speaking to me now? And she went, well, this way. And I says, so what's the difference between me sitting here in front of you and me sitting behind and sitting at the other side of a computer? And she went, oh yeah. But I think it's only when you really equate things to real life that people start to understand and sort of say, oh, now I get it. So it's
so true. That's so true. And it's hard because they feel they're so used to, and it's because of marketing and how they've been trained in marketing before, that you almost write in this like AP style, and that style does not work on social media. People are there hanging out with their friends and family, in which their friends and family are talking in a way that they would normally talk. They're not trying to craft it in this, polished kind of posting, to where it sounds like an AP piece or a piece for the newspaper. It's completely different. You're going to use a little bit of, laid back terms, you're going to use conversational, open-ended questions. We actually wrote this article called The Elements of a Good Social Post. And the very first thing is, make it personalized to your audience, make it open-ended so it starts conversation.
Yeah.
Have your own style, S for post, the style that is you. You have your own style. Nobody else can do, replicate you. That is your magic. Your magic is you. And the more that you can put your personality into it, or the brand's personality, just because it's a company logo's page doesn't mean that brand can't have a personality. I encourage, number one, too, in the planning process is, what should your brand be? Like, what should people feel when they think of your brand? Like all of us think, Apple, we know kind of that says something about people when they buy it, or Harley, or, some of the iconic brands that are known, they all have this style. We could probably answer questions about that brand even without being employees of it, because we've grown to know them so well, right?
Yeah.
But so have your own style and then be timely in it and relevant to what's going on. But if you can master the art of just being you and being human, which sounds silly to say it that way, but if you can,
but it is true.
It's true. Yeah, that's all people want, is you to be you.
Yeah, and like that, it's what I always say to people when I'm talking is like, to be you need to be you, right? Yeah. So when if, for instance, I'm posting a huge amount of content on social and it's all so polished and it looks perfect and reads really well, and then they meet me in real life, they say, did he write that? So the idea,
it's not memorable that way.
Exactly. So the idea is that when you meet that person in real life, beyond the computer, beyond social media, or whatever it may be, that they say, oh yeah, you'd have that. Oh, you look exactly as the same as you in your picture
online. That's the best compliment.
You're
exactly who I expected you to be, right?
Exactly.
You're like, thank you. I'm doing you right. Yeah.
But it is like it's so that is huge part of it. And I just love the whole idea of that customer relationship and building that relationship and nurturing and bringing it forward. Like, we've had clients for 4 or 5 years here that have been with us from, I'd say, nearly day one when we started out, and they're still as good a client as they are, and they've actually brought on more clients to us through the business as well. And how did we do that? Because we looked after them and they looked after us.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of fluffy, like, right? So it's like, oh, okay, this sounds well and good. And some businesses may be thinking about it, like, we do customer service. Like, we are great. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a couple like practical examples of this. So it kind of takes the ideology and brings it into the practitioner portion of it, because customer service is great and people expect you to do what you say you're going to do. We're not talking about that. That is definitely a piece of it. But in regards to that, figuring out what those extra little things are going to be that you have in place to really, truly care for your customers. One example, as you mentioned just a moment ago, having a conversation where somebody was getting a text message and they read it the wrong way, right? Maybe it was a hard conversation or something that they were trying to talk back with. And we've all been in business where we've had a misunderstanding or something with a customer. Here's a way that somebody that's practicing relationship marketing would handle it. One, they would either pick up the phone and have a dialogue that way so people could hear their tone. Or one thing that we do is we use a system called BombBomb, where it's a video email. So if there's any hard conversation or even just a celebratory conversation where we want to say, hey, you stood out to us, thank you for doing this, you take it a step further. Everybody expects you to kind of get that automated, reply or whatever back, or to handle the request. That's expected. What's unexpected is if you take a step further and send them a video message, a welcome message that's a video, or a phone call, or something that's unexpected, right? So we use BombBomb. We do a virtual or a video recording that plays right through the person's email. And every time they're like, wow, I didn't expect that. And now they see our face, they hear our tone, they understand what we're saying. And it opens up it creates an emotion from that, and one that's easy to understand. So that's one practical example of it. Another would be, saying thank you or recognizing someone online, sharing their story, engaging with them. This is small things that you can do. But then also, like, we use a system called Sugar Wish, where it's like a digital candy store, where if you and I are having this conversation, and I'm thankful that you've interviewed me, so I would send you an email that said, thank you for your time for doing this. And what this would then take you to is a digital candy store where you can take it and pick out literally your favorite treats, and then it sends it to you, and it's like with a little thank you card from me, and it's all branded, and it's sent to you. Like
Fantastic.
Little things that go a long way, right?
Yeah,
like memorable moments.
Massively, yeah. I actually deal with a guy in the UK, and what he does is every so often, he's now called it the Digital Alchemists book club. So what he does is he actually is a print. They have a print business as well. So what he does is every so often you get this unexpected little envelope in the post, and it's just thinking of you, and literally it's a few notepads. So if he knows I'm going to a conference or something, he'll actually post over notepads and say with Compass Media or whatever it is on it, and you go, that's great. And what of course do you do when you do that is because you go online, you take a picture, you go online, say, look at what I've just received from the Digital Alchemist, and it's up online. He's front and center of everyone, in everyone's face, but he's also given me something that I will remember quicker than if he just said, oh, good luck at the conference. It's that little added extra. And you're talking about the video messages there. We interviewed Madeline Scalar and she does the video reply day on a Tuesday on Twitter. And I remember when I connected with her first, she sent me a message. I was blown away by it. I was literally going, wow, she's actually taken the time of actually gone and sending me a video. And from doing that now, I have started to do it with my customers and, people who connect with me online, and I'll actually send them and they go, yeah, I got your message. And like that, it's just that going that one step further.
Try doing it after a conference, after you speak, and thanking the audience with a video. I promise you will gain fans. There's a difference between connections and fans for life. Like people that realize that you did notice and you did care. This is a way of going. It doesn't take much extra time, does it? Like it's literally almost the same amount of time, but it shows more thought into it. It's like the difference of giving somebody a gift card or a personalized gift.
Yeah,
right?
And it is. It's personalizing. Like anyone can text, anyone can write a tweet or send a post. Anyone can do that. But for someone to take that time out of their day, even though it only maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds, it's that moment in time when someone says, "Oh, I can't believe they actually stopped and they actually done that." Amazing. I done a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and like that, everyone that came and there was tweets going out, and every person that tweeted, I sent them back a video message saying, "Delighted that you got value from this, blah blah blah," whatever it may be. Yeah. And the amount of replies that I got back was unbelievable. So I would encourage people to do that, and people say to me, "Oh, that's a great idea," and I say, "Well, it's not my idea, really. I've got it from another person that does this." And but like that, there I would refer them and say, "Oh, well, Madeline Scalar told me, but she done it to me first. Oh, who's she? Bang." So
exactly.
It's indirect marketing for yourself as much as anything else,
Yeah, and you can find out what works for your company. I mean, here's a couple of easy examples too, ones that cost a little bit of money, but I'll give you one other example for people to think about. It's just adding delight. One of our clients, they set up Google Alerts for their clients, and that way anytime their clients mention in the news, they get an alert about it. And then what they do is find that paper, clip it out. So if, like, for example, we won an award, they sent me a laminated copy of the news article and just sent it to me with a card that said, "Congratulations." And then it's laminated and they sent it to me. So they took the time to clip it out and mail it to me, but that's their way of delighting. So whatever it makes sense for your company, like just find out what that thing is and put it into play and put it into practice for all things that you're doing. It's a great way, like you said, it does spread like wildfire and connects, people together for word of mouth referrals, but then also the loyalty factor.
Yeah, I'm sitting here now and I'm saying to myself, we're coming to the end of the show, and like I could sit here and talk for another hour about this, because I just find it I find it very interesting, but I also find it very, it's great to be able to actually to give people insights and, teach them, give them a little more, about what we're talking about here today. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, Jess, at the end of, I should say, the reason I called you Jess is because I have a daughter called Jess, and I call her Jess, and I know your name is Jessica, so I apologise for that. Sorry. The thing that I do at the end of every show is we ask our guests one simple question, and it's nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's the one simple question is that if you had the chance to invite someone to dinner, whether it be past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh, can I have a group of people or just one?
You can have as many as you want, my dear.
Oh, man. Okay. So if I want to have like a fun dinner party, I'd probably invite like the Golden Girls, Jimmy Fallon, Justin Timberlake, my father, and Oprah. Like, I think that would be like a really fun dinner party. Like mixture of comedy and seriousness, and they're super talented individuals. Like, brilliant. I just love laughing, and they all get me. All those people get me. And then Oprah, just because she's awesome. But
yeah, she is. She's fantastic. Fantastic. One day she might come on our podcast. That's, you know what I mean? There's you have to think.
Somebody who's listening. We're talking about the art of collaboration. Oprah, you got a connection. Let's make it happen. I think some magic could be worked here.
I definitely think so. Could you imagine? Anyway, we'd love it. We'd love it. And if she is listening, or if there's anyone who does know her, please do tell her to get in contact with me. There's not a problem. Jessica, how can people contact you and reach out to you if they want to talk to you a bit in more detail about relationship marketing?
Sure, absolutely. So I am online pretty much on every social network as Jessika Phillips, Jessika Phillips. You can go to my website, jessikaphillips.com, and all my social links are there, as well as the company website, nowmarketinggroup.com.
Brilliant stuff. Jessica, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I'm so thrilled to have you on the podcast with us today. We wish you every success in the future, and undoubtedly we will definitely have to do another one of these podcasts and talk a little bit more, because I could talk, as I said, for hours here about this subject. So it's an absolute pleasure having you on, and thanks for joining us today, because we know how extremely busy you are.
No, it's the pleasure is all mine. This has been a blast. I love talking about this, and could talk about it all day as well. So thanks so much for having me on.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So my thanks to Jessica for coming on the podcast today and sharing with some insights and some great advice with regards to relationship marketing. And for more details and how to contact Jessica, you can log on to her website at nowmarketinggroup.com. You can also find her on her own website at jessikaphillips.com. And you can also connect with her across all of the social media platforms, where you can find the information on her website how to connect with her. So once again, thanks to Jessica for coming on today's show. If you would like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. And all of the podcasts are available on Mixcloud, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and also Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. And we will be delighted if you would leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, as we are always thrilled to receive your feedback on any of our podcasts. You can also subscribe to the Social Media Talks podcast there, so you never miss an episode as well. And if you'd like the show notes for this episode or for any of the previous episodes, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/show notes. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast here, please do get in contact with us by emailing us at smtalks@compassmedia.ie. If you'd like to find out more about the services that Compass Media provide, from social media marketing and training to podcast services, you can also find out all that information on our website as well. If you want to connect with me directly, you can find me on Twitter at Compass Media, and I'm also on all of the other usual social networks as well, from Facebook and Instagram as well. I've been Alan Hennessy from compassmedia.ie for the Social Media Talks podcasts, and we look forward to talking to you next week. And as I always say, be social. So until next week at the same time, have a great week, and remember, be social. Until the next time, bye-bye.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.